just missed it anyway. Mm-hmm. 10:04.
Thank you guys. Hey, we're about to start the quarantine talk, the courageous conversation space, quarantine talk. So please tag, share, and watch parties, and we're ready to go.
Hey guys. Hey everybody. Hey everybody. We're talking to Morgan's Facebook friends and my Facebook family and IG family. This is Dr. Argie here, and this is your Courageous Conversations Connect space where we're having quarantine talks every day, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock. Try to get here on time. It's a little, we're about 5 minutes late, so we apologize for that. It's been a pretty busy morning already, as usual. We're gonna do like a little bit of a like, I don't know what they do in school, like a recap, if you will. I just want to make sure that everybody is set up right now with their plans. And if you're a little slow to kind of get your plan of action going into our third week of this pandemic paradigm shift, it's not too late. It's not too late to come up with your SSR, your safety plan. It's not too late to come up with your self-care plan. It's not too late to come up with your relational care plan, right? And what is that? Your relational care plan. Figuring out what you're going to do with your relationships and with your family. Those are also relationships, how you're going to engage with them. I've seen a lot of people on Zoom. That Zoom platform is doing well. Everybody should have got stock in Zoom at this point, as they're doing very well. I just got something on my phone called Google. What was that, babe?
Google Duo.
Google Duo. So check that out, Google Duo. With my dad, I was able to, because we have Androids, I'm able to like FaceTime him on his phone. But for people who have Androids and then they know people who have iPhones, you might not be able to do the FaceTime. But it looks like Google Duo allows you to do that. So that might be another option for you to make sure that you connect with your loved ones and that you're able to see them. Unfortunately, the stats that you're looking at on TV seem to be pretty accurate. That's always disconcerting because there are more people dying from this disease, this virus. There are more people that are getting sick. And I'm hoping that in your safety care plan and also in your family care plan, that you are doing the necessary things, the social distancing, the utilizing, washing your hands, the staying 6 feet away. Remembering that social distancing doesn't mean social isolation. So if you are home alone, then you need to definitely be connecting. Yet if you're home with your kids or with your partner or with your family, then you need to be figuring out other ways to manage that process, if you will. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So in these quarantine talks, you all know that
Let me clean your camera off real quick. I don't know
okay.
for some reason your camera's coming across. Give me a second, guys.
Better? Okay, thank you. I think that's much better. Yeah. Morgan just need cleaned my camera. Uh, all right, so I think a lot of people are doing this. They're trying to find ways. And the reason why we started these quarantine talks is because I was thinking, what is it that I can do before I get my day started with seeing clients? You all know I still see clients on the online platform of Zoom. I usually start my day about 12 o'clock and I start rolling. I'm moving throughout the day. Now today, there's going to be a little bit of other things going on. Like I'm going to be doing a segment on Patty Jackson. That's going to be WDAS 105.3, and she reached out to me and asked me would I talk with her about the. Hold on a second. What do you do?
We got
Okay.
only one, no.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Just ask if they can hear.
Sorry about that, guys. We try to remember everything before we get on. Can you
But
guys hear
it's
me?
not. You're rushing. There we go. There we go. Can you guys hear? All right.
All right. Tell me, guys, if you can hear. Hey, China. China's on. I'm saying that at 2:30, I'm going to be on WDAS with Patty Jackson. We're going to be talking about anxiety and depression and when people are feeling overwhelmed. I was talking to a client last night who was having panic attacks. And so, panic attacks are real. We've never been down this path before. If you had anxiety before, now anxiety is probably on fleek now. Hey, Rich. Good morning. Good morning. I know you usually have a 10:30 call. We're actually going to try to speed this process up so you don't have to get off. I have a call at 10:30, so I want to be mindful of everybody's time and getting their day started. But the thing about this process is, again, it's all new. So check that segment out at 2:30 on Patty Jackson WDAS at on 105.3, if you will. And then tomorrow morning, I think I will be on CBS at 6:15. That'll be a more early morning for me. Those news people get up early, so that'll be on CBS at 6:15, and then of course we'll be back for our quarantine talks at 10 o'clock. Okay, so those are the updates of the other things that we're doing. Good morning, China. Good morning. Update as it relates to some of the things that are going on in the world, and also what segments I'm going to be doing this week. Those may change. Those won't change, but there'll probably be others throughout the week as well. And many people asked about the segment that I did on Sunday. I taped it on Friday for the Inside Your Story, though, on the ABC. My good friend Nika Hawkins, who is the executive producer for that show, asked me if I would do a segment with um, Matt O'Donnell and Steve. I forget his name. He has a book called Decide. So that segment went really well. I'm going to post that today. I'm sure it should be up on the website, so I'll post that link today. So let's get into our breathing. You all know we start doing our breathing. Hey, IG family. Hey, Morgan's family. Morgan's Facebook family. Let's get started with our breathing. Why is that so important? As you all know, that most of us don't realize how important breathing is. On a daily basis, we have very, very shallow breathing. And in this state and time, what happens with this virus is it attacks your lungs, and it causes people to have pneumonia and not be able to breathe. So when we breathe in the morning on these quarantine talks, we're breathing not only for ourselves, but we're breathing for all of those persons that we may know or may not know that are impacted by this coronavirus. Praise God that we're all on this. If you're on this platform, then you're breathing. Perhaps hopefully you're not sick. But we're praying. We're praying not only and breathing for those people who are impacted by this virus or who are affected by this virus. Breathing is a very important part of it. We can't live without breathing. And yesterday was National Doctors Day, interestingly enough. So I posted something for the doctors. So I always want to shout out the doctors, the nurses, the medical professionals, the mental health professionals that are working overtime to work with those persons who are impacted by this virus. Um, Gotcha. Okay. By this virus, and so we give a shout out to them as well as the pharmacy people and the grocery store people and the truck drivers, all those people that are essential people to be out there, and they're doing police officers and firefighters so that we can be here. Doc, thank you so much for taking time to provide this. Thank you, Rich. Thank you for being on this platform. So let's get our breathing done because we now have not we don't have as much time, and I want to get into the topic. So center yourselves, get in a comfortable position, put your hands to your sides. Your hands can be like this, right? Index fingers, or they can be like this, but get comfortable. I'm going to do this 5 times. We're going to breathe in at the sound of my voice. After I count to 3, big breathe, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth so that you're breathing oxygen into your body, to your heart, to your lungs, to your brain, to all of your essential organs. We need breath to live, and then breathe out through your mouth. You're breathing out the carbon dioxide. We're breathing out the negative messages and the negative ideas and the fear and all of the anxiety. We're breathing all of that out, and we're breathing in all the goodness and all the intentions and all the positive things, okay? All right, breathe in, hold it, and out. Oh, good. 1, 2, 3, breathe in, and out. Breathe out the negativity. 1, 2, 3, breathe in. Big deep breath and out. Breathe in. Big breath. Oxygen in and out. Last time, make it count. Breathe in and breathe out. Yes, that was good. That was good, guys. Feel better already. I do that at least 3 times a day if you can remember, maybe more. Doesn't take a long time, less than a minute to do your breathing exercises to get all that oxygen into your body and all that carbon dioxide out of your body. All right, so I have a reading from Courageous Conversations Connect. This is my book. If you haven't had it, try to go get it, either Amazon or drargieconnects.com. I think this is a great book right now for the days and times. I've got some other books that we're going to be working on. If you haven't worked on this one, Jesus Calling by Sarah Young, it's an amazing book. There's some other ones, Good Grief. This is by Granger Westberg. We're going to be talking about grief next week. So because a lot of people are grieving, so that's probably going to be the topic of the week. Of course, I love all of Ayanla's books. This one, In the Meantime, Finding Yourself and the Love You Want. It starts with loving yourself. That's an awesome book, too. So I got some fave books, and I'm actually committed to reading more books throughout this quarantine as well. But let me go on to this really. This is from week 22, and it's called Staying Connected when roles change in your relationship. How many people have had role changes since this quarantine started, since this is the third week? How many people have become teachers because your kids are home and now you're homeschooling them? How many of you are doing different tasks in the house because you're not used to it, but now you're home and you have to? How many people who have not, either they're working from home or they're not working at all, and so they're taking on new tasks in the household that they're not really accustomed to? So this is about change, right? This whole process for us that we're going to be learning more about ourselves and about other people is about change and role changes. So here it starts with a courageous conversation at the top of this. It says, have you ever considered the fact that most of us don't like the C word? What is the C word? Change. Yet in order to be healthy, we must learn to adapt to change, especially in our relationships. Changing roles in our relationships can sometimes be overwhelming and difficult. So, how do we talk with our partners about the necessity of change, and how to be healthier in relationships when roles have to change due to new jobs, babies, lost jobs, illness, life cycle changes and stages, etc. There's an art to it, and you will definitely need to level up with your communication skills. First, we have to accept the fact that there will be times in our lives where we must all learn how to adapt to our new norms. These new norms may impose role changes in our relationships that we did not anticipate, and acceptance is the first step to this process of change. How many of us want to go on and admit that acceptance is really hard? Change is really hard. I think last week the recap was that in order to be successful at this thing that we're going through with regards to this quarantine that is extended for another 30 days, right? And we maybe even beyond that. And we now have to be healthy ourselves in order to help other people be healthy. Well, what do you have to do? Well, acceptance is healing, right? That's the first step. Acceptance, and many of us, if we're honest, we have been in denial and we have not been willing to accept that this is our new norm, and it's our new norm for a while. But once we do get to a place of acceptance, then we can begin to adjust. That is the second A. Now we begin to tweak our mindset, reset, if you will, our mindset, and begin to adjust to our new norms. once we've adjusted to the new norm, then we can begin to adapt, right? Now, the work really becomes interesting, right? Because as we're adapting to this new norm that we have, this new way of life, we begin to manage our expectations. We begin to create a new opportunity for us to execute on our plans of action throughout the day. And now we're moving, right? And so then we get to, okay, now we start having an appreciation. So we accept, we adapt, we accept, adjust, adapt, then we appreciate, right? We begin to appreciate all the things that we have learned about ourselves. And then finally, we can acknowledge that we've come a long way. How many of us can acknowledge that we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go? So that takes me to, and I want you all to engage, or ask, or tell me, either way, in this crew. And I want you guys to share. Please share this. Please tag your friends. Please give me some smiley faces and some hearts. Let me know that this is helpful to you. It's helpful to someone else. Do some watch parties. This is important, right? This is our quarantine talks. This is the Courageous Conversations Connect space where we get to talk about our anxieties. All last week we talked about our anxiety and our fears. This week we're really talking about the different conversations that we need to be having with the people that we're living with, right? And the people perhaps that we are connected with in our communities. This is about our crew, connecting relationships for epic wins. So how many of us are wrestling, quite frankly, with this new norm and with, quite frankly, what we're not doing so well? Tell me if you're having struggles with having a conversation about the new roles that you have to engage in this paradigm shift, if you will. In this pandemic, Courtney's on. Hey, Courtney, not a problem. Saw you on the news the other day and had to follow you. Well, I thank you, Courtney. Thank you for following me. And again, every day we're going to be having these courageous conversations. We're going to, at 10 o'clock, this is a space where we have our quarantine talks. So with regards to your partners, we're specifically talking about the couples, the people that you're married to, the people that you're partnered with, that you're in the home. Are you able to be patient with the process while working from home in the quarantine with your partner? Okay? Are you patient? I can tell you that patience is a virtue, but in the third week of quarantine, sometimes our patience starts waning, right? And we ought to go on and be honest that to a certain degree, we have to find ways to elevate, to level up on our patience because everything has changed. Hey, Kenyatta, thanks for joining. Tell everybody, get your watch parties. Tell everybody we're having our quarantine talks. There's a couple things that now that we've done our breathing, now that we've done sort of our reading, or if we can do a mantra as well, there's a couple things that I think might be helpful to us. First, I'm saying to people that if you find yourself losing patience with your partner, if you find yourself being snappy right now, probably in your third week, whatever your little idiosyncrasies were, they're getting highlighted now. Whatever your little isms were, they're getting highlighted now because we're in the house together, right? And sometimes the truth is that we tend to spend more time with our coworkers and the people on the outside of the house than we do with the people that are on the inside of the house. Now we're here working together 24/7. Now we're here working together 24/7, right? And trying to figure out how we're going to do this for another 3 weeks or another 4 weeks. This is a new norm. So here's some things that you can do if you find yourself to be struggling with the people that you're living in the house with. It could be your spouse, your partner, your husband, your wife. It could be maybe your kids if you're struggling with them because we're dealing with this new norm. Create and adhere to your new schedule. I'm big on schedules because schedules matter. And we all have schedules on the outside. We really do. We all typically go outside of the house and we have our stuff on our calendars. And it's interesting as I've been talking to people, in my therapy sessions and my coaching sessions, people haven't really adhered to a schedule. They kind of felt like, Now we're home on vacation. This is really not a vacation. This is really a time for us to figure out what we're made of, to level up with our resilience, to level up with our strength, with our resources, to figure out where is it that we need to still work, where are our growth areas, which I like to call them. So create and adhere to your new schedule. That's the first thing. Then identify your workspace in the house. The truth is, even for those of us who might have a little cubicle, the reason why we have even in our workspaces little cubicles is because as humans we like to kind of create our own space to work. But if we haven't really thought about it, because we're spending a lot of time outside the house and now we're inside the house, if you're like us, we kind of got caught off guard because we typically, even if Morgan and I, quite frankly, get on each other's nerves, sometimes we'll be able to listen. He's he's in the background. He's in the background saying I'm getting on his last nerve, right? But typically, typically what we've done is I'll say, babe, you work from home and I'm going into the office. Now I can't say that. I can't say you work from home or I work from home and you go into the office. The office is here all day. So we've figured out that we work differently, and he has lots of things. He really has a high tolerance, Morgan, for multitasking and a lot of stimuli. He could be watching TV and watching a podcast or listening to a podcast and watching a YouTube video and working. I need kind of silence. I need my own space. So I found my space and to get my work done. And by the way, my work is confidential. So I do need a door and I need a confidential space to work with my clients. So I found my space. And even if I'm doing writing or I'm doing something creative, I've created a separate space for myself. And Morgan has his space. So identify your workspace. Purge. I don't know how many of us haven't started purging, but this is a good time to do it because purging really helps us to create what I like to call a clearing. Let's see who else is on. Karen's on. Hey, Karen. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Purging is essential. I don't know how many of us have realized by now that we're closet hoarders. I knew it a while ago. Morgan probably didn't know it until we got married. But I, I do. I'm an organized hoarder, but I'm a closet hoarder, right? But the reality of it is, we don't need all this. We're learning that we might have had excess. We may have had a lot of things. We may have had the ability to go out and get more things. But how many of y'all are like me, where you go out and get more things and you come back and you realize you had the thing that you went out and got, but you were hoarding it and you didn't know that you had it? So now, purge your office space, purge your closets, purge the spaces where you hang out, so that one, you can create the clearing and the clarity that you need to be really more productive, if you will. So purge. Then share work times. That's really, really important with your partner, whoever you're with. Share the times that you're going to be working and maybe come up with a relational plan where you can have your eating times, your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner process. And then your play times, of course, you need that as well. You need to be able to reconvene like you would do if you were going out to work and you were coming in and then you were talking about your highs and your lows of your day. You need to do that. Of course, we all need our self-care plan. We need to be able to breathe. We need to do our meditation, our prayer, our exercise, the 4 M's. If you all didn't, for those of you who did not see me last week, the 4 M's was mindfulness, meditation, right? Then movement, and then meaningful engagement. Those are the 4 M's. So incorporate that in your work time and the time in between that when you're taking your break time. So creating times for breaks, for food, for rest, all of that is extremely important. And if you can, the last two things is if you can, within this process for working from home with your partners, get some fresh air. Breathe, laugh, exhale. Breathe, laugh, exhale. I promise you that if you do some of those things, it will help you to grow through this experience. We don't breathe enough. We sometimes don't laugh enough. I know I work in a space where it's very serious, so I actually have to be intentional about watching a meme. Morgan does it all the time. He'll say, "Hey, babe, look at this meme," and I think he knows that sometimes my work is heavy, so he's trying to kind of lighten it. So whatever you can do to kind of keep it light in a time where we're in crises, is very important. It doesn't mean that we're not taking this seriously. It means that we're relational beings. We need to do the necessary things to grow through this very serious time where everything is changing, everything is turned upside down, and we're now adapting. And then exhale. The exhaling is to purge all of the negative energy and the toxins out of your body so that you can get to a healthier place. And then finally, I say if you are tense, if you are struggling, if you're getting in an argument, if you're really snappy, not more, if you've lost some tolerance for your partner, there are 5 things specifically that you can do, right? Write these down if you have a pen and paper. First, you got to pause. 5 things. Pause, breathe, reflect, identify your triggers, and then respond, right? Pause, breathe, like we did in the beginning of this talk, right? Reflect. You begin to sort of reflect on, like, why am I so upset? What's going on? What am I feeling at this time? Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I disappointed? Am I just upset? Am I projecting onto my partner what's going on with me, my own anxiety, right? Identify those triggers so that the next time it happens, you'll know what's happening more quickly, and then respond, right? And respond with I, not you, right? So the respond with I is, hey, I kind of needed a break. I needed to take a time out so that I can understand what was going on with me. Now I'm ready to talk about whatever happened. Those things will help you to prevent your blow-ups, your arguments, the conflict, because the truth is, sometimes it gets a little bit uncomfortable when we're all in there together. And if it's a nice day, take a walk around the house. Keep your social distancing. Honor the rules or the protocol that has been set for us all to stay. But take the walk, things, see if you to get back on track with your partner. I'm hoping that those that we talked about are helpful to you guys. We're gonna make this quarantine talks a little bit more brief as we move forward, because we recognize that as I'm telling you guys, or I'm asking you guys, I'm not telling you anything, I'm asking you to be mindful of your schedules with your families. We recognize that we've got a schedule to keep as well. And so they'll be from 10 to 10:30, and then we'll kind of pivot. And if we have time, we'll probably come back in or pop back up for some impromptu quarantine talks, real brief ones, maybe 5 minutes or even less, to see how you're doing throughout the day. That's one of my plans in my head. So look out for that, like notification if I come back and say, hey, how you doing with your partner? Are you pausing? Are you breathing? Are you reflecting? Are you identifying your triggers? And are you responding? I hope that's been helpful for you. This is the wrap, if you will. And I wish you blessings. I wish you peace. I wish you understanding throughout the day as we continue, so that we can continue to reduce our anxiety. So stay safe, stay well, stay alive. Okay, that's the most important thing, right? And stay home. All right. Have a beautiful day, guys, on purpose. We love you from my heart to yours. I'm looking at all the screens. Bye-bye, guys. I'll see you later. I love you.